This is your host and real estate coach, Rafael Cortez. You are listening to the REI Wholesaling podcast, where every week I bring you the real life case studies and strategies you need to level up your real estate wholesaling business. If you haven't done so yet, go to REIWholesaling.com. Again, that's REIWholesaling.com. Sign up and get free access to your Wholesaling 101 course. This free training teaches you step by step everything you need to close your next wholesale deal and start making big money now. Fam, what's up? Welcome back to the Wholesaling 101 series. One of the biggest questions that I get from students is wholesaling legal, right? Everybody's freaking out about the legalities and the compliance of wholesaling. And the answer is yes and no. So throughout the country, we have different states, different jurisdictions, different counties, right? And each one of them has their own way of doing business. So it's important to keep that in mind. Before I jump right into it, I want to make the emphasis. I am not an attorney. This is just how we do business throughout the country. This is the research that we do on a regular basis. But consult your attorney for anything regarding legalities of doing business in your area, right? That's very, very important. So hashtag not an attorney. Now, with that being said, again, one of the biggest misconceptions is that wholesaling is illegal, and it's not. In the majority of the country, you can wholesale without a license. It's almost like selling a bicycle. You have a seller who's willing to sell that bike. You become the middleman for that bike. You sell it to somebody else, and then you make a profit from it through an assignment agreement, right? Now, what's happening in wholesaling, as I covered it before, is you're selling your vested interest in that property. Now, some states, and I'll give you a short list of what's going on in terms of regulation. Some states require you to have a license. Other states require you to have some disclosures in there. So you have to be very careful and really do some due diligence before you start putting pen to paper on any of these contracts and actually getting into contractual agreements with sellers where you become that middleman, where you become that middle person and you're selling your vested interest through a wholesale agreement and actually making a profit on the deal. All right, so a quick little list. I'm going to give you a punchline just so you have an idea of what's changing again in terms of regulation. Now, understand that this is right now. This is dynamic. Something can kick in another county next month, and that's going to change. But for now, Illinois requires a real estate license to wholesale anything more than one transaction a year. If you don't have a real estate license and you're doing multiple deals in Illinois as a wholesaler, you're going to get a $25,000 fine, all right? So that's what they're doing to implement and regulate that type of industry. Because our industry is not highly regulated throughout the country, there's, some bad business that happens, right? A wholesaler who's getting started, or they just don't have the right ethics, the right morals, or the way, the right way of doing business, they'll go to a seller, over-promise and under-deliver, and it creates conflict, creates problems with timelines and the actual lives of people trusting them to, sell their property and move their property. Now, because of that, regulation changes, regulation is kicking in. Understand this, once one state gets into this flow of regulating, it's only a matter of time before other states kind of follow through, all right? Once the model has been built out, other states are going to start modeling from it, figuring out how they can make money from the wholesale transactions through licensing fees and, fiduciary duties and all that stuff. Again, like I mentioned, Illinois is requiring a real estate license to do more than one deal. Another one is Philadelphia. Philadelphia requires you to have a wholesaler's license, and it's not as rigorous as a full-blown real estate license, right? They have a disclosure process and fees for that kind of stuff. But again, they have penalties that they'll apply if you're doing wholesaling without a wholesaling license. And then they can actually nullify the deals that are happening. So that's another city, not another state. It's another city or municipality that's cracking down on wholesaling. One thing to understand too, or look into, is that you're going to have state regulations, and then you're going to have city and municipalities and counties kind of, doing their own thing to enforce, some of the wholesaling stuff that's happening if the state is not enforcing its own. Another one is Atlanta, right? They have ATL. We do a business in Atlanta, but now they have regulations in place against commercial harassment. So if you're harassing people, they actually have stipulations. They have guidelines that you need to follow when you're applying your marketing strategies to in the Atlanta market. Arizona developed disclosures. In Arizona, that's my market. My bread and butter. I'm in Phoenix. We actually have to disclose in writing that we are real estate wholesalers on the seller contract and on the buyer contract, or seller agreement and buyer agreement, on the assignment if you have an assignment. Any piece of document that we have in front of us, we have to disclose that we are the wholesalers of this agreement, and everybody has to, sign off on that kind of stuff. So it's disclosure state. So it's not a required license, but you still have to disclose, and you have to make sure that you have that stuff in your paperwork. Again, I'm not an attorney. Look at your municipalities, look at your cities and your states for actual verbiage of what you need to have in your purchase agreements. Ohio is one of those weird ones that will allow you to wholesale. So you can actually get a property under contract and assign your vested interest in that property. Like, that part is fine. But when it comes to the marketing side of things, you got to have a license. So, they're kind of in the middle, right? They'll allow you to get a property into contract, but you can't market it, you can't push it. So it's one of those, states that's also deemed as required as having a real estate license to actually do wholesale real estate in Ohio. So again, one of the biggest things that I want you to take away from this video is an understanding that most states in the country are okay. We can wholesale in most areas. Virtual wholesaling is always an option, right? If your market is too tight or is too regulated, or it's getting there, like for example, you have areas in New York which are crazy difficult to wholesale because of what they have in terms of compliance, you can always tap into virtual wholesaling. There's always things that you can come in and then do besides marketing in your backyard or wholesaling in your backyard, if your backyard is one of those that's having restrictions. I think inevitably things are gonna gradually get to that space where it's a regulated industry. We're not there yet, but it's slowly but surely everybody's following suit. So you have little municipalities and counties and some cities just getting more aggressive on the regulation side, which I think it's a good thing. I mean, at the end of the day, we are wholesaling. It's a low barrier to entry type of business, right? So you have a lot of people coming in doing bad business, over-promising, under-delivering, getting sellers into tight spots because they're moving out of properties and they're not closing on those deals. So a lot of that stuff. I think a lot of that stuff is gonna get mitigated as we get into these regulated areas. But I mean, just do the right thing, all right? Be a good human. Operate right by the seller. Operate right by the buyer. Make sure that you look into your municipalities. Look at your local laws. Talk to your real estate attorney and find out exactly what it is that you need to wholesale in your backyard, so you stay in compliance, stay in good business, and then stay in it for the long run, right? It's not rocket science. You just have to do a little bit of due diligence. So the answer to the big question, is wholesaling legal? The answer is yes, absolutely yes. It's legal. Some states you just have to watch out for regulation, compliance, and license requirements, disclosures, and that sort of thing. All right, but it's absolutely legal. It's still one of the best ways to create wealth. It's one of the lowest barrier to entry industries out there, where you can actually come in and start capitalizing within 3 months, 4 months of being in the business. You can see big fat checks coming your way. Fam, thank you for listening. Every week I bring you the real, the raw, the mindset, the case studies, and the strategies you need to build your own successful real estate wholesaling business. So if you haven't done so yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and don't miss out on real life experience and information that can make you millions. It's time to join the ranks of successful wholesalers and real estate entrepreneurs like the one you just heard, and take advantage of one of the biggest opportunities that we have in our lifetime to generate wealth. So go to REIWholesaling.com. Head over to my website, again, that's REIWholesaling.com, and learn how to make big profits, make big money by finding, negotiating, and closing wholesale deals from your own backyard. You've heard the stories, seen the case studies, stop thinking about it, it's time to write your own. Again, head over to REIWholesaling.com, click on coaching program, book a discovery call, have a conversation with my team, and you might get an invitation to join hundreds of students throughout the country who are leveling up on a daily basis. The writing is on the wall. Hustle is a season. It's not a business strategy. Take action, start building a sustainable and scalable real estate wholesaling business, and join the coaching program today. I will catch you guys on the next one. Talk to you soon. Stay focused. You got this.